dare you? How dare you?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And while you're filing in for some KBS Sunday shenanigans, remember, social distancing does apply. Keep your space, chatters. Come on now, tut tut. And if you're really, really quick, say hello in the chat room. And the man in the hat is going to give the chat a big shout out. And I want to give him a big pat on the back. Oh, yes, indeedy. Come on in, Connie. Oh, you turned me down, Jimmy. Please. There we go. Yes, indeed. Connie, you can come in to the safe space. We give out hugs in here. They're virtual hugs because obviously we can't physically hug one another nowadays, you know, with everything that's going on in the world. And there he is, the man in the hat. I've got no idea what the whole look with Jimmy is about today. I called him up on Skype and I thought, is it Jimmy Jeans? Or is it like some kind of Snake Plissken meets Indiana Jones thing going on? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I like it though. And he's muted up. Look at him. Like working with.
I'm muted for a reason because your page isn't opening up, and the minute it does, it's gonna be I can't click the mute button on the page because I was gonna read out the chat, but the page is about to open, and when it does, we're gonna get it. It's gonna make noise. So sorry about that, but no, I mean, I am out and about, man. I'm wandering the face of the earth, looking for something to do. So I do have my Indiana Jones hat on today, man.
Well, I'll go into the chat room. You need to get your tech squared away, Jimmy. This whole audio thing coming through. You should have, you know, on a different channel, and you know, you look like you know all the score, and then all the audio just goes.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with that. The page still has not opened. The chat is there. I can see the chat moving, but the page itself hasn't opened. I don't know if it's because I have internet issues or I'm not real sure what's going on, to be
Because you're
honest.
Jimmy. It's just because you're Jimmy. That's what it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get into the chat room, and yeah, I had to kick somebody out of the chat. You know, if you're gonna sit and declare in the chat that you're unsubscribing from the channel, hey, listen, if you want attention, go and do it on somebody else's channel. Don't do it on our time. We don't roll like that in here. So then, in the chat room, we're gonna chill out, and this is a nice little Sunday chill stream ahead of the Warrior Mode show, which will be on later on with Bill being, oh, you want to be here for that one. Bill is going to be getting into so much stuff that I know you want to hear. And in the chat, we have got one Polly, First World Problems. Good to see the two of you. And then in no particular order, well, it's in alphabetical order, we have got Alan, Andrew, Connie, who's looking for a hug. We've got DJ Rustler. We have Eli, Epic, Eugene, the man himself, the man in the hat, Jimmy. We've got John Nelson. Jose Ramon is in there. Jules. We have got King Sweet, Lance, Lee, Leslie. I hope your family are doing a lot better. We've got Little Glob, Louise, or Lewis. I think it's Lewis, actually. Then we've got Maureen. Good to see you, Maureen. Then Queen Goddess, Stuart, Robin, Sam, so much Jake. I like that. St. Louis Arch or St. Louis Arch, depending how you pronounce it. We've got some dude called the Kev Baker Show. We've got a whispering I, Zulu, and last but definitely not least, we have got ZX81. Patrick sneaked in there. You see, this is the way of getting the lurkers out of there, Jimmy. We've got Cassie's come in as well. If you say to them, you get a shout out. You see that the lurk mode binned into the chat room. You see, I've got ways to get them to participate, Jimmy.
I dig it. I mean, there's nothing more than seeing the visible chatters because the chat room is such an integral part of the Kev Baker Show. It's
And do remember to be on live chat. Live chat, everyone. Not top chat, live chat. Not top cat, live chat.
Well,
yes.
I got a pop out chat to pop out, so I'm not that window still.
Wait, Lee Veltman. Oh, Lee, I've been lurking on the show that you've been on recently. We've read the documents. I think the channel's called.
Oh yeah, John's a good friend of mine.
Great work, Lee. Great work. I was hearing your exposing of the 17th letter. I was sitting back, kicking back, and thinking, yes. I still can't believe people still need that explained to them. But good work, brother. Very good work. And look, folks, it's going to be really chilled out. It's going to be nice and fun. I don't think I've got anything quite as hysterical as yesterday's story about the fighter jet with the guy that went for a little jolly and got ejected out by mistake. I don't have anything on a par with that. Well, maybe, but not yet. And we've got some NASA news. Maybe that's why somebody unsubbed. Maybe I'm shilling for NASA too much again, Jimmy. We've got some other space news. And of course, we have got some space, not space woo. We've got ancient woo as well. And I was tuning into your show last night, Jimmy boy. I thought, I'll go and drop the link over in Discord. Before I know it, I doubled the numbers in there. It was like a mini Wookiee caveman.
I know. It was great, man. Everybody, a lot of familiar faces, and it was fun. It was a good time. We started doing it. We were sort of just hanging around last night. We really weren't getting in anything special, but it was a good time. It was good to see you there, and thanks a lot for the shout out because it definitely did fill up when you dropped the link. So thank you so much for that, man. It was really nice.
That's what I like about the Discord, and there's always people hanging about in there, and if you drop them a link, they're usually looking for somewhere to hang out. They're a good crowd. You are a good crowd, and that's what keeps me coming back for more. So then we're going to get into our first story of today. And Jimmy, I just had to bring this one to the table, right? Because how many hours of airtime do you think, have we spent or have we wasted talking about the moon? Talking about how it got here, whether it's artificial, whether, XYZ things. And yet I've got probably the best moon story yet, Jimmy. If he
Sweet.
like can be bothered coming onto the stream and
No, I'm trying to get this picture for you because I have a picture that I'm gonna email you that you have to see. There's a tall white standing next to the Air Force One.
Is it Rudolph?
It's not Rudolph
Oh, well,
unless
I don't care
really
then. I don't care then. It's
she
an
got a
imposter.
$5,000 suit.
Yeah, it's an imposter. It's an imposter. If it's not Rudolph, it's not a real tall white. He's told me. He has told me. So, Jimmy, like I say, I have got probably one of the craziest moon stories
I know.
have
I'm
seen
stoked. I'm waiting.
in a while. So, folks, just when you thought it couldn't get any more bizarre, and I often talk about fact mirroring fiction, art mirroring reality, reality mirroring art, the lines get kind of blurred. And it does end up feeling like we're living in somewhat of a movie. From The Matrix to various other films out there, and Star Wars comes to mind, thanks to NASA now. Because in the not too distant future, what if I was to tell you, when you look up at that big, bright moon in the sky, it's going to look a whole lot more like the Death Star than the moon. Yes, indeed. Because NASA are planning on building a lunar telescope that looks just like the Death Star. Yes, indeed. Look at this thing. So it says a new plan to build a telescope on the moon will make our lunar neighbor look like a the Star Wars battle station. Goes on to say the dark side of the moon, which permanently, it's not actually the dark side, it's the far side, because it does get light from time to time. So the far side of the moon, which permanently faces away from the Earth, has long since been earmarked as the perfect place to build an observatory thanks to its unique level of radio silence. Now it looks as though the construction of such a telescope may actually happen after NASA funded a proposal to build, quote, the largest filled aperture radio telescope in the solar system. Measuring a whopping 1 kilometre in diameter, the observatory would be situated inside an existing crater which, in addition to being convenient, would also make the moon look a bit like the Death Star. It most certainly would, Jimmy. There's no getting away from it. And I think if for no other reason, I know it serves no purpose, right, to put it on this side of the moon that we can see. But I still think they should put something on this side so that we're aware that they have turned it into the Death Star, literally.
I know. Well, I mean, there has been all the talk of it being hollow and being the central point of the projection of the false reality that we call Earth. I don't know. The Death Star. It sounds like it's an apt application for the Death Star to be the moon. Why not?
I think it's pretty cool. And we
It
had
is cool.
Trump not long ago, just a couple of days ago, with everything going on. And I'll need to dig this up just to make sure I didn't dream this. But I'm pretty sure he said he was wanting to start mining the moon. Am I right? Trump.
I think he did.
Moon
Yeah.
mining. Let's see. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah. So if we come over here, it says, why does President Trump want to mine the moon? It says President Trump wants to start mining of moon for minerals. And the US president recently signed an executive order stating America has the right to explore and use resources from outer space. Now, the order also said that the US did not see space as a common area for resources and didn't need permission of international agreements to get started. But why does he want to mine in space, and what are the benefits? So it goes on to say that according to Sarah Cruddas, mining the moon will help humans travel further in space to places like Mars. Sarah's a space journalist and says the moon can become an intergalactic petrol station because it has the resources needed for rocket fuel like hydrogen and oxygen. And having a petrol station in space means rockets can travel further into space before worrying about running out of fuel. And it's not like, it's like not taking a kitchen sink when you go on holiday. we shouldn't need to take everything with us when we go into space. And exploring deeper is important because space has lots of resources which can be used to benefit our planet. And of course, Jimmy, can be used to make astronomical, pardon the pun, profits, you know? That's what it's
I
all
know.
about. Once it becomes profitable, that's for me when there'll be really a big push to start mining and going after asteroids. And you've got that company out there called Planetary Resources. I think James Cameron, the director, he's on the
Hmm.
board of that. And they're
Yeah.
like, their whole business model's going out to get asteroids, planets, anything that they can basically strip mine them for, you know? And you think about it, you hear about planets and things like that out there. I mean, I don't know how real it is, Jimmy, but areas of space are like filled with diamonds. And you get planets that are full of this, that, and the other. You imagine if they can find a way of like mining some of that stuff and selling it, getting it back here in a timely fashion. I suppose that's really the only hindrance, right? The time. You're going to have to go after asteroids that are near Earth because we can't exactly fly that far, right? And even if we did, we'd have to fly all the way back with it. And we're pretty slow at flying in space, Jimmy. Pretty slow.
Yeah, maybe they could just bounce it off into the moon and just catch it on the moon and then just go up there and grab whatever they need off of it. Just make it land on the moon instead of trying to land on it. I mean, it
Just
seems a little
slingshot
bit.
it into the moon. That doesn't sound dangerous at all, man.
Well, I mean, people were throwing. What did they just put a probe up there and they release some molecules or something that may cause water or something like that? Sorry about those accidental molecules we left up on the moon. Did you hear about that? When the Israeli put their vehicle up there?
Yeah, there was goo on the backside of the moon as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw something earlier about black goo today. I didn't grab the story, but I should roll back and see if I can find
Oh,
it.
you've been hanging about those forums again, haven't you? What have I told you, Jimmy? What have I told you about hanging about on those forums?
Well, I mean, I always need to laugh whenever I'm eating. I just like to scroll through and just see the titles of the threads. A lot of times they're really funny and sarcastic.
Sorry,
get a-
Jimmy. I've got the kind of life belt around you because I know that sometimes you fall off the edge into the rabbit hole, but rest assured, dude, I've got you. I've got you on a rope, you know.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
good. You got me on the safety harness.
I have, and one rabbit hole that you almost dragged me into, and I caught you. I know you were trying to do it. Yeah, I know. Don't think it wasn't noted. Comet Atlas. You tried to drag me into the Elenin mode when it came to Comet Atlas, Jimmy. You started putting on a scary voice and everything when you were telling me.
Hey, comet number one, it wasn't the comet I was worried about itself, the comet itself, and number two, the other piece that is happening on the 29th of this month. There's a nearby flying meteorite or something.
All right, so it causes there's episodes. This is the one that just likes to keep on giving. What if I was to tell you that the rabbit hole that you're halfway down, Jimmy? Look closer because it's coming. It's closing in on you, man. It's closing in. Do you know why?
Why?
Because disappointingly, and it is disappointing, but we're being told that Comet Atlas 2020, Comet Y4 is breaking up, Jimmy. It's all going a bit Pete Tong. It's all gone a bit wah, wah, wah. So it says Comet Atlas, the space rock, which piqued the interest of the astronomy community, has started to crumble as it approaches the sun. Look at that colour coming off that. It says Comet Atlas, also known as C2019Y4, but nicknamed Atlas as it was discovered by the telescope array system of the same name, was first discovered on March 5th, 2019, and stunned the astronomy community as it was heading directly towards the sun. Now, after more than a year's worth of travelling, the comet has only just made its way past Mars, but astronomers have discovered that it's falling apart. It had been hoped that the icy comet would hold out until it got close enough to the sun that it would be as visible in the night sky as Venus, which looks like a bright star. However, the latest observations have revealed that it appeared to be falling apart. And Carl Battams of the Naval Research Lab in Washington, D.C. said, it's possible that this is the beginning of the end. The comet's orbit is now influenced by non-gravitational forces, and these forces are the result of gases lifting off the comet's nucleus and causing the nucleus to move very slightly in the opposite direction, sort of like a jet engine. And most active comets experience this to some degree, but Atlas's non-gravitational forces have kicked in very abruptly and are quite strong. Now, this supports a narrative of a small nucleus being pushed very extremely by extreme, or very strongly by extreme outgassing, possibly along with fragmentation. And finally, let's not forget that Atlas is a fragment of the larger unidentified comet, also related to the Great Comet of 1844. So fragmenting is a family trait for these guys. Now, wonder where that is, Jimmy. Where did that big bad boy go? If this one here is just a fragment of it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering what these other these uncontrolled fragments flaggering all around the universe. It's going to come. I mean,
these
it's
fragments fragmently fracturing, just causing a fracas up there in space, Jimmy. You know.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you hit the pool balls and they go in all directions. I mean, maybe this thing explodes. It's just like it's exactly like the plot line of this movie Greenland. The comet that they're all watching in the sky. It's all cool. It's supposed to be like, oh, look at the comet. Everybody's got their binoculars out. They're eating popcorn. All of a sudden, the thing breaks up. It's like extinction level. But I'm glad it broke up. It sounds good. It's another reason to know that.
I'm not, because it would be quite cool to see like something that bright in the sky. But then, of course, we could have Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse, whatever way you want to pronounce it. I'm told both are actually correct. I'll go with Betelgeuse because it sounds funnier. But
I think Betelgeuse sounds more intense, like it's gonna blow.
It does maybe, but Beetlejuice makes it sound, I don't know, like a bit gross, because I would never drink like literal juice from a beetle. But Beetlejuice, quite cool, funny, good film.
That was a good movie.
That was a very good movie.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
How weird would that be with everything going on in the world, right? And then you have that going supernova and almost like a daytime star thing happening. That's pretty cool, right?
Patrick in the chat brought up a movie called Night of the Comet from the 80s. It's a pretty good movie. If you're sitting around at home, you got nothing to do, with Netflix or whatever, just look up Night of the Comet. It's actually a pretty good movie. It's not bad. I mean, for the 80s.
Now, you see up here how that says somebody becomes a member on the screen. Now, we all know that's a lie. But what I believe is happening, folks, is because it keeps the memberships on hold for 90 days. It doesn't charge you. I've checked this out. I've also checked with one of our members as well. Doesn't charge you, but it keeps you on hold. So I think when it comes your day when you should have resubscribed, it comes up as you resubscribing. But don't panic. You're not getting any membership money taken out. As you can see, nobody's in green in the chat room. It's not a thing. But just in case you're wondering, and probably the trolls out there will be the ones that go, oh, but look, it's coming up saying that. Oh, but just full disclosure, that's why that comes up. But yeah, this comet, anytime I hear about a comet, Jimmy, I kind of cringe. Only at myself, right? Because of the way I got over Comet Elenin. And that's why usually I'm like, oh no, people are talking about comets. I'm keeping my head down. I'm not saying a word this time. Not that I was like vocal or anything, but I really did think that was going to be something. Whoa. Me
too. And it was like that BP Earthwatch guy, and they always had the map that shows the planets, and it's just showing it. The planets are spinning around, and where the Earth meets. It's like it's coming in. It's like at the point there's something like that coming in. I mean, does anything else even matter? So I was like you. I was like, man, that thing's coming in. I mean, what is it? I moved to Colorado, man. When that's, you know what I mean?
Lee
I was ready for
Veltman's
the
talking about Uranus. Lee, I was reading about Uranus today, and it said that Uranus has actually been hit so hard it fell on its side. And I laughed so hard, I thought I can't take that story to the table. I just can't. But yes, listen, we're guys, and we're always going to get endless fun out of a planet that's called Uranus. Deal with it. It's a childish streak in all of us. I'm sure even women find the name of that planet funny, Jimmy. What are you doing live on air? Why?
Huh?
What are you burning in your face live on air? This isn't your stream.
My cigarette.
Yeah. We don't encourage behavior like that here, Jimmy. You close the camera down and you leave it to some mystique. You see, and then everyone in the chat room wonders what you're doing. And some of them know and some of them don't, you see.
I see.
You see, that's how we roll here.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. You see. Never a good thing smoking on stream. No. Never. Is he still there? Has he paused himself?
No, I'm still here.
He's thinking, if you pull your hat down over your head.
I might be able to. At this point.
The man in the hat. So have we got any more space news? You had space news, Jimmy.
No, yeah, I just saw that. I just wanted to pass that along to you. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal.
Something about Musk.
Yeah, I mean, FCC went ahead and gave him a permit to install 1 million 5G antennas on the planet Earth. So if you see some vans rolling around, it's probably SpaceX.
I've had a caller with a caller one time, Chris. He called in about the Starlink that go over. I've not seen them going over yet, the Starlink satellites. But a lot of people have seen them, and a lot of people who don't know what they're seeing, you can imagine they're like, whoa, it's like a convoy of UFOs you would imagine you're seeing, right? Because not everybody knows about it. Not everyone's into our kind of geeky, kind of weird stuff that we're into, and some people are kind of oblivious as to what goes on in the skies above them, you know? So I would imagine, and not that Chris didn't know what they were, but they certainly intrigue people. And I think he's got plans for about 15,000 all in. And you've got Amazon, they want to put some up. Google. I think it was myself and Scotty were joking. It's going to look like we've got the rings of Saturn. Eventually there'll be that much bloody stuff up there.
Yeah, well, the government's already leasing him. They were just using his satellites to do an operation recently, like last week, I think it was. They leased satellites off of him. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting bit, this next bit coming up, this next 5 years or so. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I saw a couple videos of the satellites when they were organizing, before they were organized into a line, when they were just up there, they're all floating around random, and then they all come together and they sort of like get in this line. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. But the people had put that video up as they thought it was videos of UFOs organizing outside the space station or whatever. But turned out it was the satellites.
Hey, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, right? You never let the facts get in the way of things like that, Jimmy. So I'm going to see what we've got else. What else we have here? Aha. Some woo. Now then, I've been talking about the Skinwalker Ranch lately. New history show on. I've not seen it yet. All about Skinwalker Ranch. And it used to be owned by Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace. And he bought it because of all the lore. Because of all the things. All of the woo. The portals, the things, the entities, the creatures, you name it. It's like ground zero for woo. Well, he's now sold it. The new guy that's got it, he's asked scientists to come in. The History Channel have gone in as well. And if they do half as good a job as they do of this, as they do with Oak Island, I'm really, really excited by it. So we'll see how that goes. But I found a story today about the Skinwalker Ranch. And FYI, I am going to try and find somebody to come on and talk about Skinwalker Ranch because it truly does fascinate me. There's something really, really cool about that place. So we'll get into the story here. And I think this crazy looking gentleman whose photograph is not very kind to him. They've got the perspective all wrong, kind of draws him out, makes him look a bit elongated and things. However, this is the dude that now owns it. So it says, those who have followed Skinwalker Ranch closely know that Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, BAASS, via the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Application Program, AAWSAP, worked with the Defense Intelligence Agency and possibly other groups within the government. And to the Stars Academy. Just saying. But something that has been speculated about, but not confirmed until now, is whether the new ownership of Skinwalker Ranch has also interacted with the government. Now, during an interview on Coast to Coast AM, George Knapp said, and the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, Brandon Fugel, said this. George Knapp: Brandon, as far back as the ranch family that owned the property before Bob Bigelow bought it, they had told the NIDS investigators that they would occasionally see what they presumed were military folks. Helicopters would fly over, or, people in SUVs with binoculars checking out the property. And then, of course, as we know, the ATIP program was actually something else called AAWSAP. And that was initiated by the DIA. Now, Bob Bigelow had a contract with them, and they were studying the property on a much broader spectrum of issues. And I wanted to know if you've had either outreach from the government to ask you what's going on there, or requests for partnership, or any indication that you are under surveillance out there from unknown parties. So this is the owner, Brandon Fugel. Good questions. First and foremost, in response, I've had no interest in partnership with the government. Not because I don't love my country. I love being an American. We live in the greatest country in the world and are very blessed and fortunate to be here and to be part of this incredible United States of America. But I just did not want my investigation ever to be compromised and really have no interest in partnering or being involved or taking money from any government-related enterprise. Now, where is it? Where did I get to? That said, in direct response to your question, yes, I have been approached, and our team, was summoned in the past to Washington, D.C. to give testimony and to report on what we have been observing on the property. Now, Jimmy, let me just pause there. So they've been called to Washington to talk to, I would imagine it must be some congressional hearing or Pentagon briefing or something about some of the activity that's going on at Skinwalker Ranch. People sometimes hear the name Skinwalker Ranch and think, oh, woo-woo, out there, tinfoil stuff, mad. Obviously, the American government don't think that.
Well, now, are they going there to answer questions, or are they going there to hear the lowdown about what they're not supposed to talk about? I mean, is it an investigation of this Congress? I mean, what are they going up there for? Because, I mean, there's a lot of activity up there. Maybe there's some sort of a facility up there someplace. It says
to report on what we have been observing. So they're reporting to the Pentagon or to some bunch of politicians about some of the activity that's been reported there. And it goes on to say that there appears to be a very real, sincere interest on the part of a number of agencies and programs that are at least monitoring what is happening relative to reports on the ranch. And they seem sincere and in the spirit of collaboration. Again,
maybe they got to get their cloaking device. It's got to get. They didn't realize there was a blind spot over there at this ranch, so they got to get the coordinates so they can put the invisible curtain up there so nobody can see it.
Probably not. But it goes on to say that I didn't have any problem presenting the evidence and the data that we had collected. And I felt it was a demonstration, at least on my part and my team's part, that we really do consider this a stewardship and we're sincerely focused on the facts and really utilizing real scientific rigor. Now, the one thing that disappointed me was the lack of exchange. I mean, it seems that everyone wants information. Everyone wants us to impart that which we have learned, which is great, and we're happy to share. But we see very little exchange, and that's a little disappointing. Now, that's probably been one of the more disappointing aspects of my journey. I feel like we're kind of, in a lot of ways, on our own, which is both exciting, but it's surprising as well. I would have expected a little bit more of cooperation exchange, but hey, let the chips fall. I don't really care. We are running a privately funded and manned program, an investigation, and I think that has really helped us maintain the integrity of what we are doing. And also, it allows us to think, or allows us to, I think, share what we are doing with the public. And I think one thing that Mr. Bigelow was challenged with is I think he and his people were dealing with classified information. And I'm sure there were non-disclosure agreements in place, and I respect that. I completely respect that. They need to honour those, but we're approaching this from a different angle. So George Knapp then goes on to say that the premise of the AAWSAP study, which Bigelow Aerospace was the contractor for the DIA, is that there are national security implications of what has been reported at the ranch. I don't know exactly what that is. Maybe wormholes, holes in the sky, beings coming in and out from some space or someplace else, an intelligence operating there. Do you agree that there are national security implications? To which Brandon answers, well, yeah. I think when you're seeing objects and phenomena that are seemingly violating our airspace, that aren't showing up on radar, are really operating, behaving the way that any conventional craft would behave, I think it should raise questions. I would think there are implications, and I would think it would be of great interest. I'm glad that there has been, I think, a more serious effort to bring the truth to light. I think that the New York Times story and the other journalism, the other reports that have now come forward, and everything from your fighter pilots to others who have had the courage to go on record relative to what they have seen, I think it really shows us that we are entering a new era of disclosure, or at least honesty. And I think that's refreshing. I would like to think that anyone who does their due diligence and looks into this field of inquiry has to look at it from an honest perspective and has to admit that there is some real compelling evidence. We've seen it at Skinwalker Ranch. Now, not only did Mr. Fugel say agencies, but he also said programs. Could these be the programs rumoured to come to light, or more general programs that happen to be interested in the subject matter? Now, the government being briefed on UFOs is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Several senators and even President Trump have gone on record stating that they have been briefed. Pilot David Fravor has been involved in at least some of these briefings, and his involvement was highlighted during the To the Stars Academy television show Unidentified. And Skinwalker Ranch, which has its own History Channel show premiering soon, encompasses more than UFOs. It includes other aspects of what many would call the paranormal world. However, some have speculated that government interest in this wider spectrum of the paranormal may have ceased when Bigelow Aerospace disbanded, possibly in part due to religious pressure within the government. And with Brandon Fugel's claim that he and his team briefed the government, is Washington still interested in more of the paranormal spectrum, or does their interest solely lie in UFOs? Well, regardless of what exactly their interest may be, The fact these briefings occurred are a huge step forward in what some would call disclosure. Anytime there are claims or proof of government interest in paranormal topics, or specifically UFOs, it gives activists examples to cite when making their case to the world at large. Fascinating, Jimmy. Absolutely fascinating. So, yeah, I mean, they say the disclosure word one or two times in there. And I suppose you could look at what's going on the History Channel right now with To the Stars Academy, with the ATIP people, with Luis Elizondo, baby, the rock star of the Pentagon, who is still under contract to the Pentagon, and he can't talk about that. I just think it's important you realise that. All the Hal Putoffs and the ex-CIA cats, I think there's some form of... I don't want to say it's all BS, because some of those videos that we've seen, I firmly believe are true. It's a mix of truth with half-truths and a lot of disinfo in between. But there is some kind of disclosure light going on just now, right?
Well, there's something going on. I mean, they're, admitting to stuff. They're saying, they have tape of it and, they're admitting to all this. But, I mean, as far as Skinwalker Ranch goes, I mean, that's a controversial place in and of itself. There's a lot of controversy surrounding that place. So, I mean, he's got some TV show coming out about that. I mean, having a TV show about and having an expectation you're going to see something is doesn't make much sense. So they must already have tape.
Yeah, well, I've already spoke about this. Maybe you weren't on the show, but they've it's a physicist called Travis Taylor, I think his name is Travis something. But he's worked on the Tesla files. He's been on Oak Island. He still is contracted with the DIA, I think it is. He's basically like Doc Miller. When Doc Miller was working with the government. Imagine when Doc Miller was working with him. This guy's the new Doc Miller, right? And he was saying that he lost 14 seconds, couldn't talk too much about it, but time anomalies, like proper time slips, dude. Proper stuff that, like, they're capturing scientifically because they've got all the gear there. And they looking at his face when he was talking to Richard Dolan, they really don't know what to make of it at all. And then you've got that whole almost national security implications. Is it wormholes? Is it entities coming here from other places? Who only knows, man?
I don't know, man. I'll tell you one thing. I mean, if you really wanted to get into it, I think you could, your buddy Ron Patton, and Clyde Lewis also. Both of those guys, I'm pretty sure, know the old guy that used to own that ranch. So you might not be able to talk to this cat, but you might be able to get the guy that used to own it to talk to you about the ranch.
I got a message off Ron yesterday, actually. Quite bizarre.
Did you?
Synchronistic, yeah. I think I'll need to say to him, Ron, I need me some Skinwalker.
Yeah, no, that guy's a nice guy too. I'm sure he'd come on. He's got a million stories, man, of what stuff that's happened up there.
Pretty cool, though, huh? Pretty weird. I'm going to have to dig deep into it. There must be books on the Skinwalker Ranch, I would imagine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to do the deep dive on it, dude. I'm feeling it. The gut's telling me I need to.
Well, they're going wild about it in the chat. King Sweet seems to know a little bit about it. I also saw Mr. Menson mentioning that the moon was acting weird, that it was doing flip-flops or something. So I don't know. Everybody in there is this. The chat room's going wild in there, bro.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And don't forget, folks, I'll be back in just over an hour with Bill Bean. Got a couple of other things today as well. And we've been diving down the Aboriginal woo hole lately, or shall we call it the Billabong, since we're going to Australia. We'll use the correct jargon for down there. G'day, sport. Yeah, exactly. And I came across another story today that I certainly enjoyed reading. And again, it's a look at the original people from Australia. And hopefully before too long, thanks to our good friend Jess, the Mammoth Hunter, I'm really hoping, really hoping that we can get our very own originals from Australia onto the show. If we come over here, it says the Aboriginal Australian Afterlife. So it says, and Jimmy, you're going to like this. You're a man that's into his enamel tablets of tooth and all that stuff and things like that, you know?
Right.
Here we go. It says the Aboriginals believed in a place called the Land of the Dead. Now, this place was commonly defined as being in the sky world, the sky, and this was supposedly where a deceased person's soul went, as long as certain rituals were carried out during their life and at the time of their death. And they are thought to then be allowed to enter the Land of the Dead. Now, other places it could go were a place called Bralgu, or it could become one with a particular site, like Uluru, for example. And this explains why the Aboriginals are very protective of sites they call sacred, as it all that is left of the dead members of theirs. That should be dead family members, I would imagine. And it says, like Catholics, the Aboriginals believed in resurrection. And in this case, being that one by one, spirits are being resurrected into living beings back in Australia. It's because of this reason that they believe that life is a never-ending cycle. It sure feels like that. You're born, you die, and you're born again. Now, the Aboriginals worshipped many of Australia's animals, and as they have a life cycle, they believe that there is no reason humans can't have one either. Another version of this is an infamous Aboriginal idea known as eternal dreaming. Now, this was a huge part of their culture and formed the basis of many of their ideals. In this version, death is seen as a rebirth from your previous life. Similar to the idea of a life cycle, you are reborn again. And another belief is that the soul of a person who has passed away goes to the land of the dreaming ancestors, which is where all of their gods and ancestors are. Now, many groups in Australia have had many different beliefs. Some believe that they had two souls and that they merged together during death. And some groups buried their dead bodies and then tried to conceal the site as much as possible by adding sand, bark, dirt, bushes, and other things to stop the spirit from leaving the body and haunting the group. And the dead's possessions were either buried with them or destroyed. And a deceased person's name was forbidden in the group. And if someone else had that same name, it would have to be changed. Wow. Now, Jimmy, I've never heard all that before. It's a different take on things, you know, but I always like to look at how other people, other cultures, other belief systems, how they view things, you know. And death, it's something that, you know, it's probably the one thing that's inevitable. We're all going to face it, right? And there's been so many ideas over the ages. But that there, you know, one idea, you come back, everything recycled. A big part of me thinks that why wouldn't it be cyclical? Everything else in the universe is, right? Are we going to buck that trend? That would be weird. But that other place you could go as well, that ancestral kind of dreamland that they were talking about, that almost sounds like returning to source, to almost being part of the whole, the everything, the Akashic records, the quantum field, just the woo, man.
I know, it's wild. Your dead ancestors are dreaming you.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That is cool, man. So
you think about the Egyptians, they had their journey, didn't they? They took their journey. You know, they got their heart weighed by, was it Anubis? Did they not do the weighing of the heart and things? Fascinating when people think about what goes on the other side.
It's wild, man. And you know what? And when the moment of truth happens, that's when we're all going to find out what's really going on. So, I mean, some of these some of these ideas are so. I mean, I guess what else is there to think about than wondering the one thing that we don't know? And there's a lot of people that have ideas about it, and there's a lot of people that have scientific principles about religious aspects of the way that you can get to this place at some point. It's interesting, man. I don't know. I mean,
Now, Donnie in the chat room, he is an original person from down under. He says
Yeah.
to call their name is call back from the spirit world. So that must be the thing where it was talking about changing names and things
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
yes, your name is something that's very important in magic.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's saying Estonia is in Kazakhstan. Astana's in Kazakhstan.
I know they
If that's
changed the
what you
name of
mean.
it to something else now.
Right. there we go.
Astana. It's no longer an anagram for a devilish character.
Very good. Right then. I have got one more, I think. I think we've got one more, Jimmy. I think we've got one more, and this was just a crazy one that I found today. What happens when a zebra has happy, fun time with a donkey?
What?
What happens when a zebra has happy, fun time with a donkey?
Oh, a zebra. Okay.
No, a zonkey.
Thought you said
It's
Deborah.
a zonkey. It's a zonkey, not a Deborah. A zonkey. In Kenya, a very, 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 very happy zebra found a very, very unattractive donkey, and they give birth to a highly unusual zonkey. You see these zebras, Jimmy, you can't leave them alone for 1 minute, man. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what it is, they'll try and nail it. But yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. We talk about spider goats, we talk about
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water.
that
They
kind of
turn
thing
the
as
friggin'
well.
frogs gay.
We also talk about
I never expected Trump charging into a goblin's nest to not get some goblin vomit and slop and blood on him.
there's no goblin vomit, just a zonkey. And how cool does that sound, a zonkey, dude?
That is cool.
That's cool. Look at it. It looks like a pretty cool thing, right? Pretty
I know.
cool.
Is
So
that
it
the
says-
the calf there behind?
Yeah, that's the what is. Do you think like it would just be a group of zonkies? Could you have like a zag of zonkies? Or would it be
a zaggle? A
a
whole
zaggle, a whole zaggle of zonkies? You could,
Exactly.
couldn't you?
Exactly.
I think so. See that little thing there, that little horse, that little zonkey. See if you
Mhm.
took the big zebra out the picture, right?
Mhm.
And I was to go and sit on that little thing's back, it would look like a big, huge zonkey stallion. Because I'm just the right size for that little horse, dude. I swear
That's
to you,
funny.
I am. I swear.
Did you take a look at that picture I sent you?
No, I didn't, Jimmy. No.
If you look at that picture and you look at there's a guy standing by the engine of that plane. Look how tall that guy is compared to all the other people.
Very good. Very good. Very good
Have
indeed.
the aliens arrived? Is Trump is Air Force One under control of the tall aliens,
I
man?
don't know, but I'm sure if you put it onto Above Top Secret or over on Before It's News, that'll get lots of clicks, man. You'll get lots of dopamine with that one, Jimmy.
I don't know where that came from
Oh,
either, but
You
they was
love
taken
that. I
yesterday, I
think
guess.
you made it. I think you went and found it. You've been trawling for the picture of the tall white. You have. You've been looking for him. Can you see
No,
him
I
in there, folks? Look, big tall dude
just
at the
call-
engine.
I call him down. I don't look for him.
You
I
actually
call him
speak to
down.
them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm RH negative, man.
I forgot, dude. I forgot you've got the hotline, man.
I got the hotline, bro.
We were on. We had the tall white alien on last night.
Did you?
Yeah, we had Rudolph. Not physically. He didn't like.
I missed it. What,
yeah,
what
we
did
were
he
playing
have to
on
say?
Manny. Oh, he was rapping to some music, the way that only Rudolph does. He's got like how would you call it? An earthly liaison hybrid officer. There's a hybrid that works for him now, dude.
Is that that woman that's working with him?
Yeah, man, she's a hybrid. Exactly,
not bad
Lee.
looking.
Exactly. That is one cute zonkey. Exactly what I was thinking too.
She's maybe a zonkey is a good name for hybrids.
Maybe there's zonkies where the tall white come from.
There could be. All I know is he seems to be developing himself quite a staff, you might say.
Hey, listen, dude. You don't get sent here from another planetary system. It's not a one-man job. I would have been surprised if they had just sent this one solitary tall white to carry out such a gargantuan plan. There's gonna be tall whites all around the world, dude. They're just gonna come online at different times.
Well, all I know is Mount Shasta. Supposedly, there's a portal there where or a hole that leads down into the center of the earth where all the tall whites come out of.
You see, you've got Mount Shasta, you've got Skinwalker Ranch, you've got Mount Graham. Is that not the one where the telescope is? Not
Mount.
Yeah, the Vatican. I know people say, oh, it's the Lucifer telescope. Technically, no. That belongs to the University of Colorado, but don't let that get in the way of a good conspiracy either. But, yeah, that's another one. It's meant to be a natural Stargate.
No one would have ever even cared about that telescope. The only time people started caring about it was when they found out it was called the Lucifer telescope.
But it isn't. But it isn't. It isn't. That's
I know. That's even funnier.
It's not funny, it's pathetic, because really the Lucifer telescope's the one next door. It's a device that's on is it the Colorado or is it the Arizona State University telescope?
I think it's Arizona.
Yeah, I remember I went to go and write an essay about the Lucifer device, and about 10 minutes into it, I'm sitting scratching my head going, am I going mad here? Because I was always told that was the Vatican's, but no, it's just people that have wrote books about that they omitted that one line of information that it isn't quite the Vatican's, it's next door.
Well,
don't let it get in the way. It's good, some good way.
I know. Well, I mean, hey, it got clicks for a lot of years, didn't it?
I got clicks off it because I honestly went around for a couple of years thinking it was a thing. That's when you really, really have to go and check everything. Even what you think is the most hard and fast fact, you think, well, there's no need for me to check this. It's the Lucifer telescope, right? Well, it wasn't. Mm-hmm. Oh, it wasn't.
Well, I don't know, man. The first clue that you should always keep in your back pocket, whenever somebody says you can't make this stuff up, always think in the back of your mind that, oh, yes, you can. I could make this shit up all day long. So, yeah, you can make it up. No problem. So it's not always true just because it's outlandish and they say, hey, you can't make this stuff up. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Bear that in mind anytime you're listening to Jimmy's show now, you'll be thinking to yourself, is he making this up?
No, I mean, yeah, you can do that if you want. I shoot people straight. I joke around and stuff. I mean, I'd never tell somebody something that was made up, but I'm just saying the idea that when somebody says, hey, you can't make this stuff up. Yeah, you can, man. Yeah, you can. Right? Am I right?
No, you're absolutely spot on, 110% correct, Jimmy. Yeah. See you back on air later today. Have you got anything planned over on the Jimmy channel?
I'm done. Yeah, I don't do anything until I have a show on Mondays and then a show on Friday, and we've been kind of hanging around on YouTube on Saturday nights and Wednesdays. But no, I'm not doing anything. To Mondays, the next time I'm going to be around on Revolution Radio at 3 p.m. Pacific. And other than that, I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm so stoked that you invited me, man. I love hanging out with you, man.
Yes, indeed. Big shout out to Lisa. Just seen Lisa coming in there. We've got, who else is in there? Lee. Yep. Telling you, Lee, that kind of patter doesn't go down well, even with a funny emoji here. Nobody's trusting no plan over here, dude. We're so far away from trusting the plan We can't even see the plan anymore. We live in a world where there's only 25 letters in the alphabet. I don't like ask those things I used to ask. I ask questions now. I don't I don't have anything with that. That thing's all gone, Jimmy. I don't know what Lee Veltman's on about with trusting a plan.
I
What are
don't
you
know, but
talking
I
about?
know this. I know this that you and I, we didn't trust the plan from the beginning, and we don't trust plans. We make plans, brother.
Exactly,
We
Jimmy.
make shit happen.
We make and break plans. Exactly. So I tell you, you want a funny story?
I do.
I know we haven't addressed the big scary elephant in everyone's living room today, but I found a really, it's not funny at all, but you have to laugh or else you're gonna start crying, right? We've been locked down a wee while now, right? People are starting to get a bit twitchy. It's
Mm-hmm.
starting to get a bit hot under the collar some places, and again, there's some people that they're just not having any of it. They are going out, and of course, over here you've had people been told you can't buy wine, you can't shop for this, you can't do that. I heard how there's one city in America, I can't remember where it was, but it's one sidewalk to walk one way and the other sidewalk to walk the other way. And if you try and walk the wrong direction, they're fining you $100. Well, I found another story today, and this here, Jimmy, what do you say? You couldn't make this stuff up? Here you go. Check this out, folks. Honestly, what can I say? 10 foreigners made to write sorry 500 times for violating their lockdown. 10 foreigners from different countries were caught taking a stroll in the Tapovan area amid the ongoing 21-day lockdown, Sub-Inspector Vinod Kumar Sharma said. Yeah, a group of foreigners were made to write sorry 500 times for flouting the lockdown guidelines on Saturday. 10 foreigners from different countries were caught, just taking a stroll in the Tapovan area amid the ongoing 21-day lockdown to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus and not maintaining social distancing. And each one of them was made to write the sentence of apology 500 times. Talk about being treated like we're being back in school. And look, I get it more than most. Look, socially distance, I can see the need. Trust me, right? I don't need convincing that virus out there is taking people out. I see it, okay? I know people that have lost people. And I'm not in any way saying, oh, we need to just kind of rubbish all this and just forget about it and get back to normal. Can't quite do that right now. But at the same time, Jimmy, making grown adults write out sorry 500 times for what can you say to that, dude? I mean, come on, that's literally the kind of stuff we had to do in school when we were getting punished. You would get lines, we used to call them. I will not do that again in class. Write that out 500 times. That's what we used to have to do. And that's what adults are now having to do. I believe that's India or Pakistan that story comes from, one of the two. But yeah.
Well, all I can say to that, Kev, is I forgot my pencil.
You'll just have to write out an excrement, my friend. You're not going anywhere. You're locked down for breaking the lockdown.
You see how you never change? Like when I was in school, I always had forgot my pencil. So look, here I am all these years later.
Pretty grim though, dude, right? That's pretty grim, right?
No, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic.
What, making people write lines out?
No, still not having a pencil to write it out. Yeah, no, I don't think I think it's funny. I mean, what else are they going to do? Charge them money? I mean, next thing you know, it's like, please, sir, can I have another? How about that?
What? I mean, what are we? Are we back to are we in school again?
Spankings, man. Spankings next. Spankings is next.
Bad, dude. Bad news. Drones shouting at people in New York. It's getting insane, man.
I know. You know what's so funny too? The funniest part about it is that all these years we've been talking about all this technology. You know, we've been talking about, you know, Minority Report and all this, you know, and all this stuff, and here it is. You know what I mean?
Somebody's
I
asking
mean, we
what
were
NASA
just
are planning to do. They're planning on building a telescope on the far side of the moon, and they're going to do it in a crater. It's going to look like the Death Star, only it won't because it's on the far side of the moon and we won't see it. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan, folks. I'll wrap all that up in a minute. I'll bring this all to a fine conclusion. You know, we'll wrap up these stories that we brought to the table today. And
I
that,
thought
Jimmy.
I just went quantum.
No.
Seemed like I was back where I started.
Yeah, you see, I'm keeping the chat up to date. Yeah, keeping them up to date. Yes, indeed. So yeah, and I know Connie in the chat room. She's wanting a hug. I could do with one as well, but not. We'll probably have to write out lines if you get caught doing that.
I'll give you a hug. I just gave you a hug.
Pretty strange, man. Pretty strange.
I'm giving everybody a hug in the chat room right now.
I would love. I don't honestly know what I would say to a cop if they said to me, right, that's it. You're out of order. You're coming down to the station and you're going to write out 500 lines. I honestly don't know how that's going to go down. Not going to go down well. Not when you try and tell Big Shuggy in Glasgow. You know, big 6 foot Shug in Glasgow is out walking his 2 pit bulls. Hey, Shug, you can't be out, mate. Who says? Government. All right. So what? But mate, we'll arrest you and take you down. You have to write out like lines. Who's arresting me and taking me to the station? Aye, chase yourself. Know what I mean? Come on, man.
Man, I saw a video yesterday, Washington D.C. These cops started coming up into the hood. They were trying to mess with somebody. And they came up this staircase, and everybody was filming them. There's probably like 15, 20 people on the staircase, and these 3 cops and these bulletproof vests are coming up and trying to move through the crowd and all this. All of a sudden, the person has their cell phone. They look back, like now you're seeing from up on top of the staircase, and you look back, and the whole neighborhood just comes in and closes around these cops. And they just looked around, and they just started leaving, and as they were leaving, everybody was yelling at them. Everybody had their phones out. It's a trip. I mean, everybody's like, you know, filming.
Harvey Weinstein wished this thing had kicked in years ago.
Weinstein?
Yeah, socially distancing might have saved him some shenanigans. Probably saved him a few years in the jail.
I don't know. I mean, he's over in Rikers Island in New York. I mean, they're gonna probably say, "Oh yeah, too bad. He died of COVID. That's too bad." And then he'll just be whisked out in a fake coffin.
And then people like you will be all over Twitter telling us it's all part of the plan.
They whisked him out. Not me, dude. It's not part of the plan.
I think you're a joke. I think you are Q. There, I said it. You confirmed it today with a hat.
You used to accuse me of it back in the day.
Not seriously.
Well, so what's going to happen now?
I don't know what is going to happen now.
I don't know. I think Weinstein. Did you have you tried to figure out what? Oh, that's right. We can't say that. All right. Well.
Yeah, we don't want to go in there. Don't be going into that.
No, there's something real. I'm gonna show it to you after the show, and because you'll love this, man. It's perfect.
No, I won't. Trust me, I know already, folks. Trust me, folks. I know already that I won't love whatever he's going to show me.
Oh, you will.
I'll be sitting going, oh, wow. Jimmy, come back, Jimmy.
I floated away to Fantasy Island.
You see, you should just join me on the sunny kind of slopes of Speculation Isle. Now, over the back of Speculation Isle, I can't promise what goes on out there. There's dark waters, there's black goo, there's all sorts, Jimbo. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I mean, who knows what's on the backside of Speculation Island? It is dark over there.
It's like the dark net. Yep.
The people that are over there are all white because they never see the sun.
Yeah, it's like the far side of the moon. That's what it is, man.
That's what I mean. They're
Yeah.
putting a telescope over there. I think
Yeah.
they're gonna name it Lucifer.
Oh,
I don't know.
ooh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, exactly. So, folks, I'm going to be back in exactly 44 minutes. I'm going to change gears. I'm going to get into warrior mode with Bill Bean. It's really Bill Bean's show. He does it here on the channel. We started doing this little podcast. I think this is episode 3 now. Warrior mode with Bill Bean. So please, please, please come back for that. I'll be back, like I say, 45 minutes. Might be on later on with the guys, but I must admit, feeling quite tired today, so I'll need to gauge it after I've done the Bill show. But I will be back tomorrow. We've got Ben Emlyn Jones on the main radio show. And of course, I do the KBS pre-show stream now, so keep an eye open for that. That'll be roughly 8:30 p.m. in the UK, and that's 3:30 on the East Coast and 12:30, just after midday on the West Coast, right here on YouTube. Jimmy, what have you got coming up, man? Anything planned for your channel? Any streams? I still need to play Doom at some point, man.
I know. Yeah, no, we got some stuff we're working on. I mean, I'm sort of gonna be switching gears a little bit away from, some of the stuff I have been doing. I'm gonna start looking at some cool stuff for the future, and maybe, get into some stuff and maybe talk to some people, bring some people in to the discussion that typically wouldn't be around, as guests, like actual real world professionals in the technology realm. So probably gonna be doing some of that. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of hanging out, being casual. I enjoy being here with you, and I mean, in the current situation, this is a way that we can all kind of hang out together and have
That's
some
all it is.
fun.
Yeah, when we go live on here right now, me and Jimmy, it's no show. It's just two dudes streaming. That's all it is. There's no big revolutions. We don't have any kind of secret, super kind of whistleblower from the deep state or anything like that. We don't have anyone that's represented by a symbol or a letter of the alphabet or some crazy fake beard. Jimmy's got a couple of hats and disguises he can get into. I've got a couple of masks I could wear, but that's about as exciting as it gets over here. And really, we're just kind of sharing the lockdown together. Lockdown lullabies with KBS. Yes, indeed.
And the thing is, too, man, is I'm just hanging out, being casual with everybody, and we're just kicking it and, hanging out. But, if Kev and I wanted to, do something and get on something and grind an axe about a subject matter or get on here about some stuff, man, we'll throw down with a presentation that nobody can touch. Right here. So just because we're hanging out and being casual doesn't mean that we're a couple of rummies over here making shit up, like I was saying earlier.
See, I just don't care. See, this is what you see is what you get. I know some people with YouTube channels, they act like, oh, look at me, I'm the YouTuber. I'm just Kev. I happen to have a YouTube channel. Got a whole heap of crap to talk about, a whole heap of time on my hands, but yeah. But some people, you're far too laid back and you're not very professional. And it's because I'm not professional. I'm just me. It's just two dudes. It's not anything polished. If you wanted that, you wouldn't be coming to the Kev Baker show if you were looking for that kind of thing. You want the real deal, right? Warts and all. Audio crap ups, people not turning up for shows. Streamlabs going glitchy when I was on with Scott last night. That's what it's all about, Jimmy, right?
I know. Hey, believe me, there's plenty of people that got professional. It looks all light. Everything's lit, and they got all this stuff, and they got stuff in the background, and they got screens, and they're throwing all this. But all that is smoke and mirrors, man. Smoke and mirrors. Me and Kev, we're just here kicking it with you guys, just like he's saying.
Yes. Epic saying I have an enchanted bathing suit. It swam off without me. Dang. Russell Targ and Keith H. They did some tests with precognition. Nice. Russell Targ. I know that name. Is he like a remote viewer or something? No,
I don't know.
Going on.
I'm not sure.
Leslie, oh Leslie, I feel so sorry for you. I think there's tablets that you can get from the doctor for that, listening to me for 2 years. I can only apologize what I've done to your neural pathways, and what can I say? You'll never get that time back, Leslie. You'll never get that time back, but I think you came here for a reason. We all came here for a reason, because we're all as mad as each other. And in our own little way, our own little tribe, we're doing something to change the world, even if it's just turning the frown upside down and pumping some positive energy back into the matrix. There's enough tension and stress out there right now without me adding to it. And you know it's not that I'm trying to deliberately take your minds off what's going on in the world. Well, in fact, yes, I am. Because, let's face it, it's all waiting for us when we get back there anyway. And I think we have the most fun on here when we're talking about the woo, about the strange, about the weird, when we're just being real. And we're not pretending to be some crazy virologist or microbiologist that we're not, Jimmy. You know? We're just here to do what we do, man.
There it is. I mean, what else is there?
Infotain the masses.
Well,
And
I mean, what else
commentate
is
through
there?
the apocalypse. There you go.
Well said.
I think that about says it all. Oh,
I
pardon me.
think so.
So, folks, I'll
So-
be back in just over half an hour right here on the channel. You can find the link. It'll be on the channel page. Bill Bean will be here. Remember, if Bill Bean and that kind of thing isn't your cup of tea, that's okay. We're very open-minded. We don't judge anyone. Everyone's welcome. All I ask is you show that same level of respect in the chat room, and everyone gets on nicely. And with that said, Jimmy, the man in the hat, I don't know if you feel like more important with that hat on. There's something going on with that hat. There's a story attached to that hat.
Oh, my man. This hat is this hat has seen a lot. If this hat could talk, my friend.
Now, hang on. It looks like I've hit on something there. What kind of escapades has this hat been on, Jimmy?
Well, all I can say is I've had this hat for 20 years, Kev.
Oh.
So this hat has seen. This hat, his lips are sealed.
Can't teach an old hat new tricks, no.
No.
Is
No,
it a
but
traumatized hat? Do you think the hat suffers from what it's seen, from what it's gone? Has it ever spoke to anyone?
I don't know. It stands up in the corner by itself, though. I know that it's stiff. It is. It's stiff, and I'm not sure why, but
Does it like walk off your head? Does it like jump off at night?
I don't know. It's a whole ritual that has to happen. I have to take off my bracelets. I have
There's a
to
bit
take
of
off my
gadget.
hat.
There's a bit of Inspector Gadget about that hat as well, man. And Indiana Jones.
There might be something up under that hat besides my empty dome.
Now people are thinking, they're like, what the hell's Jimmy got under the hat? Ladies and gentlemen, you can put your answers on a postcard and send them to I'm Only Joking. But we will be back. I'll be back soon. I'm sure me and Jimmy will be back at some point soon as well. And if not, if all else fails, I will be here for the pre-show stream. Maybe Jimmy will be here as well for that. Ben Emlyn Jones tomorrow on the show. And a big show coming up on Thursday or Friday. Watch this space. Because I'm going to have Chris Anatra, the quantum businessman, on the show. We're going to be talking about his deep research into the Mandela effect and the holographic universe before he then premieres the latest episode of his documentary series covering all of this. And then as soon as that premiere finishes, we'll be back here to talk about it on the Kev Baker Show YouTube channel. Ah, yes. You see, just when you thought all the content was going away. Nah, see, I don't roll like that, Jimmy. It just makes me double down. And I'll find new ways of getting more content onto the channel. So, it's all good here on KBS. Remember, stay safe. Stay strong if you can't make it to the next stream with Bill. I hope you have a good day. And if I'll see you tomorrow. And hopefully I'll see you all over on the other stream with Bill. Last word to you, Jimbo.
Hey, I just want to say, take care of yourselves, and I'm gonna give everybody another big hug. Here you go.
Keep
giving you
your
a hug.
mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. Do you think they'll eventually stop us like touching ourselves? Oh, I hope not.
I hope not.
Well, that sounded worse than I thought it did. I didn't mean like that, Jimmy. Did it sound like I meant like that? Surely not.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water.
How dare you?